Right, everyone. Hope everyone is doing really good tonight. So one of my students sent in this to me. It's some mathematics problems, and I'm not so sure which textbook this is taken from, but he said he was gonna get some more homework on this and some more advanced work on this, and he really needed to understand this before he moved forward in school. So this is why I'm here. I'm here to help and reinforce what is being learned in school and to clear up any misunderstanding that you guys have. So if you guys have any questions at all, just WhatsApp me or send me a picture and let me know what questions you have. So I'm gonna answer this here. It's an exercise, well, exercise 9 here. And we have some instructions at the top, and it says here, invert the divisor and multiply. So I took the liberty of rewriting it so it could be clearer for the purpose of this video. So whatever device you're using, it should be looking clearer to you now. And some schools, they say things differently and they do things differently, but it's basically the same rule. So generally, you can say change the sign to multiply and invert. And if you didn't know, looking at the title of this video, this would be fractions we're doing here, right? Okay, so we have 6 questions. And what you could do, you could change the sign from divide, and these are division signs here, right? Okay, these are division signs. All of them are division signs actually. So we're going to change, step 1, change the sign to multiply and invert. So what do I mean by invert? Invert simply means I flip. So if, for example, if I'm looking at the 1 over 4 here, which is a quarter, I'm going to change that from 1 over 4, I'll go with a different ink here, a different color, sorry. 1 over 4, if I invert that fraction, I'm going to just flip it and it's going to become 4 over 1. That's all. That's all there is to that, guys. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I am going to work out each and every sum and take my time and explain as I go along. So first of all, let's look at number 1. And here it is. It says here, a half divided by a quarter. 1 over 2 divided by a quarter. Okay, and just a revision on fractions here. You know that the number at the top is always called the numerator. So the numerator in this fraction is 1. And the denominator is 2. The denominator is the number below the fractional line. Okay? Right? So the sum here, let's go in green. The sum here is 1 over 2. This is number 1 I'm working on right now. I'm going to label it number 1. Okay? So the sum says 1 over 2 divided by 1 over 4. So I'm going to change the sign to multiply. I like to do like this little arrow showing that this is the next step. So I'm going to say 1 over 2. I'm going to put 1 over 2. Change the sign to multiply. And then invert. Let me do that one more time. So what I did, I changed the division sign to a multiplication sign. Then I'm going to change 4, well, I'm going to change a quarter. I'm going to change a quarter and invert that. So I'm flip it, so that's going to be 4 over 1. And now we could cross multiply, or some schools say cancel out. Okay, pretty easy now. So we say that the 1, you don't need to cancel out the 1 because 1 could go into 1 one time. That's pretty easy there. But 2 into 2 is 1. 2 into 4 is 2. So therefore, 1 multiplied by 2 is going to give me 2 above here. Then 1 multiplied by 1 is going to give me 1 here. And we know that 2 over 1 is the same thing as saying, well, basically just 2. Yeah? My answer for number 1 is 2. My answer for number 1 is 2. So what I'll do, I'll just write the answer to it right here next to it. So when you revise it or pausing the video, you can get the answer right there. But I'm going to erase the working for it. If you need to get a worker, just pause the video or rewind, because this will be up on YouTube, right? Okay, so that will be the working and the answer for number 1. Let's go to number 2. Let's go to number 2. And number 2 says 2/3. Let me label it. Number 2 says 2/3, 2/3 divided. I'm just going to write the question fresh here. 2/3 divided by a half, you know. Then the next line is going to say 2/3. I change the sign from divide and click multiply, change it to multiply, and then I invert. So a half inverted is going to be 2/1. All right. Is that the question? Let me just make sure. 2/3 divided by a half, yeah. 2/3 divided by a half. I change the sign to multiply and I invert. So therefore, can I cancel or cross multiply there? Nothing works. So I'm going to say 2 multiplied by 2 is going to give me 4. And then I say 3 multiplied by 1 is going to give me 3. So my answer is 4/3. Or, you know, in mathematics, we like to write things as mixed numbers. So I can say 3 into 4. 3 into 4 is 1. And then remainder 1. And then I write the denominator, which is going to be what I divided by the third. So 4 divided by 3, 4/3, or 4/3 is the same thing as saying 1 1/3. So that's going to be my final answer there. Okay, so the answer for number 2 is going to be 1 1/3. Right? Yeah. So I'll just erase the work in here. If you need to get a work in for number 2, just pause or rewind the video. So the answer was 1 1/3 for number 2. Oops. That was brown, right? Okay. 1 1/3 for number 2. And the more you do this, guys, the easier it's going to be. Just be sure to have attention to detail and don't make any silly mistakes, especially if you're doing this in a test, and especially if you finish before time is called. Always check over your work. Okay, the next one, let's go in blue. The next one says, number 3 says 3/4 divided by 3/8. So I'm gonna say 3, number 3, right? I'm gonna say 3/4, 3/4, or 3/4 divided by 3/8. Yeah. Then I'm gonna put my little arrow. I always like to put this arrow. Right? So I have 3/4. I change the sign to multiply. And I invert or I flip. So 3/8 is going to be 8/3. And now I can cancel or cross multiply. So I can say the 3's could cancel each other out. So 3 into 3 is 1. And then 3 into this 3 is also going to be 1. Then I say 4 into 4 is 1. 4 into 8 is 2. So if I go forward now, it's going to say 1 multiplied by 2 is 2. Then I say 1 multiplied by 1 is 1. And 2/1 is the same thing as saying just 2. Alright, so the answer to number 3 would be 2. Yeah? Oops. Answer to number 3 is 2. Yeah. Yeah, 2. Perfect. Nice. Let's go to number 4. Let's go ahead and work. Purple. So number 4 says, oh, that's a nice one. 7/8. Number 4. 7/8 or 7/8 divided by 7/16. Divided by 7/16. Right? Perfect. So next line, is going to be 7 over 8. Multiply, change the sign to multiply, and then invert or flip. So 7 over 16 is going to become 16 over 7. So 7 into 7 is 1. Guys, let me just say, when the numbers are the same, like how we have it here, right? So we have a 7 up here and a 7 diagonal. They're just going to cancel out each other. So 7 into 7 is 1. 7 into this 7 is 1. And you know that you need to know your times tables. So if you don't know your timetables, revise your timetables all the time. There are videos on this YouTube channel that helps you to learn them by memory. Okay? Right? And you really need to know them to move this quick when you're doing your sums. Okay? If you don't know them, you're not going to be able to move this quick. So I would need my 8 times table or my 2 times tables here. So I say 8 into 8 is 1, and 8 into 16 is 2. And then I say, well, 2 multiplied by 2 is 2. And then I say 1 multiplied by 1 is 1. And then, 2 over 1 is the same thing as saying just 2. So the answer to number 4 is also 2. All right. Where is this? Oh. The answer to number 4 is 2. A lot of them are answered by 2. That's interesting. Let's go with, what color is this boy? A kind of navy blue. So let's go with number 5. Number 5 says 3/5 divided by 6/15. So I say number 5 is going to be 3/5 divided by 6/15. Quite interesting fractions here, right? Next line is going to be 3 over 5. Change the sign from divide and make it multiply, and then we're going to flip or invert. So 6 over 15 is going to become 15 over 6. And it works out pretty well. You can see the numbers are multiples of a certain number. So I can say 3 times table here. 3 into 3 is 1. 3 into 6 is 2. Yeah? Then I say 5 into 5 is 1. 5 into 15 is 3. And then I can continue and say 1 by 3 is 3. And 1 by 2 is 2. Okay? And 3 over 2, right? This 3 over 2 here is the same thing as saying, let's go down here. Nothing wrong with that. Right? 3 over 2 is the same thing as saying, well, 2 into 3 is 1, remainder 1, and it's going to be 1 over 2. So 3 divided by 2, or 3 into 2, or when you change it to a mixed number, you change it from an improper fraction to a mixed number, is going to be 1.5. So the answer for number 5 is going to be 1.5. Yeah? So the answer for number 5 is going to be 1.5. So I hope that at this point in the video, it's pretty easy now, right? Just takes a little practice, but if you get more and more practice, it's going to be easier, especially if you're doing a test. So the answer for number 5 is going to be 1.5. And sometimes students ask me, so can I put 1.5? 1.5 is a decimal, and it's the same value as a 1.5. But let's just keep it fractions, It's nice to be consistent. I mean, you could put a 1.5, but everybody is dealing with fractions here, so it just looks nice also to be consistent, But sometimes you do need decimals to make it work better, but not in this case. So if I were you, I would put 1.5. And finally, last one, right? Let's go with red. For number 6, Number 6 says 7/8 or 7/8 divided by 3/4. I'm going to put my little arrow here. 7/8. Now we're going to do the magic now. So I'm going to change the sign to multiply. So that division sign becomes a multiplication sign, and flip or invert 3/4. That's going to become 4/3. So 7 cannot cancel with 3, but 8 and 4 could go. So I can say 4 into 4 is 1, and then 4 into 8 is 2. Right? So then it becomes 7 multiplied by 1 is 7, and then, well, 7 multiplied by 1 is 7, and 2 multiplied by 3 is 6. Wonderful. And finally, I'll go down here. 6 into 7 is 1. Remainder is 1. So my answer for number 6 is going to be 1 1/6. 1 1/6. 1 1/6. All right. 1 1/6. Oops, let me write it a little bit better, because neatness counts. Okay, cool. And this was a little exercise, a short video. Try to make it as short as possible for changing the sign to multiply and invert. Like I said, some textbooks and some schools altogether say different things. Some of them might say invert the divisor and multiply. So different schools say different things, but this is really a helpful way to do it. Sometimes you will see this in an exam, okay, right? Especially even if it's a worded question, you may need to extract from the words and get the important information, right? And this would be what you would be calculating. But it's really easy. So again, you do it in 2 simple steps. You change the sign to multiply, you change the division sign to multiply, and then you invert or flip, right, the divisor. Okay, and yeah, so that's it. So if you guys have any questions, I need help with any questions with the mathematics at all, I'm here to help. Just WhatsApp me. The number is 1-868-713-6860, and I'll be glad to help. So have a great day, and God richly bless you in all your endeavors. Bye for now.